Good morning, I bid to you to watch this video. Dr. Lukman, my UTP SV, UTP SIT, post-company supervisors and colleagues, and of course anyone who is interested in watching this video and learning more from my presentation. Firstly, here I am today is to present to you Student Industrial Training Program. I'm Ka Wai, and I'm from UTP, and I'm doing internship in MTech. Today I'll present to you 6 mechanisms for my internship program. Number 1 is the introduction. NASDA. What is NASDA? NASDA is actually the National Science and Technology Development Agency, where it's actually the big branch of it. MTech is just a subsidiary under NASDA, and actually for NASDA, the National Economic and Social Development Board decided to organize and develop this institute under the National Science and Technology Development Act in 1991. Based on this whole system, you can see that MTech is a branch of NASDA, and so is the other 3. The vision is actually to be a key partner for the development in science and technology of the country. Next is the objective. The objective of the Student Industrial Training Program is that number 1, application of theoretical knowledge. Number 2, acquisition of individual skills. Number 3, the practice of professionalism. And number 4, the implementation of HSE, health, safety and environment. For number 1, the application of theoretical knowledge, that we can apply our chemical engineering academic studies into the real working life. And number 2, the individual skills that we can learn is that moral values, teamwork, and management skills. For teamwork, I have been working with another UTP student, Haziq, who is also an internship student. And the practice of professionalism skills that it develops and inculcates inside us. And of course, the HSE, it teaches us to apply safety measures in our daily life. The next mechanism, the second mechanism of today, is the general overview. MTech. What is MTech? Actually, it's the National Metals and Materials Technology Center. Cabinet resolution decided to establish it on September 16, 1986, and it's actually under the research and development. Number 1, the automobile, electrical and machinery industry, agriculture and food industry, fashion industry, medical and health industry, and of course the alternative energy that I'll be working under. Technical and consultation services. MTech provides 3 types of services. Number 1, the material analysis service. Number 2, training and conference. And number 3, technical testing. For the material analysis service, MTech actually applies services and conduct experimentation for other companies or for other universities. Training and conference, for example, based on my experience, I followed my supervisor to the Pattaya beach for some poster presentation where they will be presenting their poster. And for number 3, the technical testing is that our biofuel testing laboratory will be conducting experimentation to improvise or to improve our research projects. This is actually just a minor steps if you want to call MTech for services. This can be found in the MTech website. Next will be the department structure. As just now described, our MTech is actually based on the Materials for Energy Research Unit and Renewable Energy Laboratory. This is where I'll be working under, and Biofuel Testing Laboratory. There are 4 colleagues of mine. Number 1, Dr. Nuwong, which is my supervisor. Number 2 is Mrs. People, and number 3 is Miss Vitai, and number 4 is Mrs. Pico. The third mechanism of today is the work culture. Safety regulations. MTech emphasizes on cleanliness issue. This is actually what happens in MTech, and we will straight away have to clean it. It's because we have to conduct good measures on safety issues. And the second picture actually shows my workplace in the office. Although there are many files that can be seen here, they are arranged properly for future research where you can easily find the documents. Next will be the safety facilities. Number one picture shows the safety shower where if you have any exposure to chemicals, you can use it. And this too is actually the fume chambers where it leaks out the chemicals, the toxic chemicals, to the outside environment. And for the safety facilities is that safety exits. As an internship student, we have been given personal protective equipment, PPE, which is the gloves, the protective clothing, and of course the mask for minor research projects. And the safety labels are actually applied in most of the areas of MTech. This is actually a brochure given by MTech to any visitors who would like to visit MTech. If you do not comply to these rules, you cannot visit MTech. Training provider. For almost every employees, there will be training provided for fire combat skills and CPR treatment, where employees or employers would have real-life experiences undergoing training using the fire extinguisher and on any other circumstances. The next is the standard operating procedure, the SOP of the company. This is actually the overall work program for the MSDS and course form. What is MSDS? MSDS is actually the material safety data sheet, and of course the COSHH is the control of substances hazardous to health. So the step is actually you applied it in the computer, and then if it's approved, you have to purchase the instrument or purchase the chemicals, and then you have to label it. After labeling each chemicals, you go back to the whole process again. It's actually a cycle process. And the next standard operating procedure, this code, is actually two types of waste, where non-combustible hazardous waste is actually being put into tubes and containers to be sent away by lorries, while the special case combustible hazardous waste will have to be labeled specially and to be put in special places to be sent away. The next code for a standard operating procedure is this, and of course the employees who is responsible have to send the waste to this waste room. The next is the work environment. The first picture shows the biofuel testing laboratory where I am working on my research project and any sample testing in this lab. As you can see, another safety sign is labeled here. And number two picture shows my workplace, the office, where I conduct calculations and of course the to improve my research project. Next mechanism of today is the work experience. Basically, the work experience have two types. Firstly is the research project, and second is the sample testing. I will just briefly introduce my research project where SIT will be extracted into two components. Number one is the de-oiled jatropha, and number two is the jatropha oil, where we will try to conduct experimentation on to remove phoboesters from jatropha oil. So my research project is titled Investigation of Parameters Affecting the Forward Ester Extraction from Ka Wai. These are the 5 variables that we will be conducting. This research project, I'm conducting it right now, so therefore, based on the variables, we are actually improving the forward ester extraction. So basically, this is the formula that we are using for the extraction calculation. And of course, this is the HPLC machine that we have been conducting the research project. So the samples testing. There are actually 9 machines that we use in MTech. Number 1, the first machine that I use in MTech is actually the pole and cut point tester, where we measure pole and cut point tester temperature. This pole point is actually the measure where the substances become solid, where it solidifies, and the cut point where the first point where it becomes cloudy. This process is actually very simple. You just enter the substances inside and you key in values and estimate it, and of course you just wait probably 1 to 2 hours depending on different substances, and the result will appear on the machine itself. Next is the bomb calorimeter. Firstly, you have to measure the sample and of course weigh the sample. Then you put it inside here, and when you set up the apparatus ready, you just wait for probably around 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Then you get your results. It's all automatic. It will be presented here, and you just put the wire strip inside to test for the heating value. Next is the copper strip corrosion bath. This is actually an instrument that you require heating, warming up of the machine, where you use around probably half an hour to reach 50 Celsius, and then of course you enter the substances that you want to test inside the test tube, and of course you enter the copper strip inside to test for the corrosion value. Therefore, you put inside here, and then you wait for 3 hours. The value of corrosion will be rated by a label data given with the machine itself. The digital density meter is an instrument that we use to calculate the density. There are actually 2 types of measurement. Number 1 is the automatic, and number 2 is the manual. Automatic, you just insert the substances and it automatically count. And number 2, of course, is the manual, where you have to inject the liquid and wait for the results to come out. Next is the Penske-Martin's closed cup tester, where you measure the flash point. Flash point is where it's a temperature where the first chemicals start to ignite. Therefore, you just put it inside here with the instrument, the equipment, you put it inside and you put it inside here. ASPE is the mode where you first measure the temperature where it's closest to the value. And the second mode, which is the SPE mode, is actually to get the accurate results. Therefore, for this instrument, we have to do 2 times. Therefore, it is to improve on the accuracy. And the next instrument is the Ka-Fisher colorimeter, where we measure the water content of the substances. This is actually, you just insert inside here, poke the needle inside here, and you inject the solution inside, where you measure the water content of the sample. Next is the viscometer. This instrument is very easy, it's all automatic. You just insert a sample filled with a tube filled with samples, and then the machine will automatically measure it, and the results will come out. The next is the potentiometric titrator, where we measure the acidity of the sample. This sample we have been putting it in with phenolphthalein indicator to show that if it turns to the neutral color, it becomes purplish, and the whole process will be actually measured by laptop next to it. So we have to just to set up the apparatus as shown, and we will get the results. Next is the Rancimet, the last instrument that we learned in MTech is to measure the oxidation stability of the sample, where actually when we measure the water oxidation stability, we set up the apparatus as shown, and then we run it to the computer. And the fifth mechanism of today is the sustainability. Number one, the environment. As you can see, based on the safety regulations that I've actually specifically elaborated, that MTech actually applies safety regulations to maintain the environment and to further improvise on research energies, alternative energies for the future. Economic-wise, is that we as the internship students, we have learned from researchers in the laboratory that we have to use back the apparatus or try to minimize the usage of those disposable test tubes and injectors and everything else. And of course the political and cultural dimension. As you can see, political dimension, MTech is actually under the influence of NASDA, and NASDA is actually serving the country for the science and technology of the country. Therefore, based on the political issue, that MTech is under the thoughts of the government. Therefore, actually one of the base introduction is actually fight for science. That's the motto of NASDA. And the cultural dimension is actually based on I as the Malaysian student tend to have the different cultural dimension with MTech. However, MTech have many other researchers from other countries. Therefore, they all actually come together and serve as one. The last mechanism for today is the conclusion. This is actually the picture of all the students, past internship students, and of course my colleagues in MTech. Based on the conclusion for what I've learned in MTech is actually undescribable in terms of I have learned so many things such as individual skills, management. I have even broadened my knowledge on research projects. Therefore, I would like to thank everyone who is watching this video for the opportunity to have this internship in MTech. Thank you very much.